Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Unleashed Wrestling. I am TJ.
And I am Yorkie, and this is the Unleashed Wrestling Podcast.
Yes, and before we get started, we do want to apologize for us not making videos in the past couple of weeks. My computer crashed on me, and so I ended up having to get a new one, and then I had to transfer data over to the new one. So it's just been a hassle, and Yorkie's been sick, so I'm glad he's feeling better. He looks 100% now.
I feel 100%. Yeah, that flu kicked my ass.
Yes, the flu is no joke. No joke at all. So instead of us reviewing the past few Raws, we're just going to kind of step into what happened this week and just kind of go from there. But honestly, the biggest thing that happened to me was the 30-minute long John Cena promo.
It was great. It was amazing.
Yes, it was.
That poor kid.
You know, the thing was, I know. I kind of, for a brief second, and I've never been a John Cena fan, but for a brief second, I was like, you know what, John, you're breaking my heart right now. Stop.
Yeah.
But that was the intention, you know?
It was.
But for 20 years, we have been asking for a John Cena heel turn.
We got it.
Wondering what would it be like. Yeah, we did. And we wondered what it would be like. You know, you and I were talking after the Chamber about if he's going to come out in new gear. Is he going to have a new theme song?
No.
He came out with his same old stuff. And I was messaging my cousin Thomas during this. You may have been at work at the time. But I was messaging Thomas. I was like, hey, what the heck, man? I thought we were going to get new music and everything. He goes, just keep watching. You'll find out. Because I was a little bit late starting because I forgot it started at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So he sent me a message, dude, this John Cena promo. I was like, crap, it's on. So I had to go to Netflix and watch from the beginning, which is fine. But
I did the same
thing. Yeah, man, yeah, exactly. I think I had messaged you.
I will say, like, I was about 45 minutes behind and I didn't get one single commercial ad.
Yeah, I didn't either. It was pretty cool.
So, and I pretty much caught up, and I was like maybe 30 minutes behind actual end time.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's like,
yep,
it is what it is.
And that's one thing about Netflix I like is if you come in late, you typically don't get the commercials. They try to do their best to catch you up as close as they can. But do you think that we're going to get another theme song, or do you think John Cena's going to stick to his guns and say, nope, when he's the same theme song, I'm just going to be a badass heel?
You know, I'm not sure. I feel like he's probably going to keep the same music after saying that. But, you know, he's already said he's got his heel music ready to go.
Right.
Like, it's been ready for years, and he just hasn't used it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they're going to eventually bring that into it or if they're going to leave it as, you know, no new music, no new attire. This is what you're getting.
Yeah, and I can see him doing that. And in fact, when he was giving his promo and he was like, you know, y'all have asked for things for 20 years and you know, y'all booed me when I came out. You're not getting anything from me. He was speaking the truth. Like everything he was saying was 100% true.
John Cena sucks. John Cena sucks.
Speaking of that, when they started that, did you see the grin he had on his face for like a little second? He kind of broke character.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that. I was like, he's loving this.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I'm loving John Cena as a heel.
Oh, me too.
Of course, we've seen it once since the turn, but now that WrestleMania is 20-something days away, we're going to start seeing a lot more John Cena. And
4 weeks.
4 weeks. And man, I'm going to go on a tangent, but it's a quick tangent that'll come back. So I told you this yesterday. I've started watching every single WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm on WrestleMania 6, the main event, which was Warrior versus Hogan. And I'm trying to get through all of them before WrestleMania starts to kind of gear us up for it. But it really makes you appreciate what we have now. Because if you go back and watch the early WrestleManias, yes, they still had phenomenal matches. Like Steamboat and Savage was probably going to, in my opinion, one of the greatest matches of all time.
Right.
It was phenomenal. But the video quality and the commentary wasn't as good as what we're getting now. So it really makes you appreciate how far WrestleMania has come in 41 years.
Oh, for sure. When Cody came out and he said he wanted the hustle, loyalty, respect John Cena
Hmm.
at Mania, he's not going to get it. No matter how bad he
No,
wants
of
it,
course
he's
he's
not
not
going
going
to
to get it.
get it. But
Oh,
I
I think
mean,
they're committed to this heel turn.
they are, and I think it's going to be beneficial for all parties involved if he stays the heel. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
but with the heel turn, it's kind of predictable on how it's going to end.
Yeah, and and I will say this: I love Cody. He's been a great champion, but I think Cody's at his best when he's chasing the championship and not when he's the champion.
Right. And I agree.
So
You
that's
know,
gonna,
I'm a
yeah.
I'm a big Cody fan. I like Cody. It is what it is. But I mean, the run was good, but it's time.
Mhm. It is Tom, and I've always been a fan of long runs, but not to the point of where it was with Roman Reigns. I think a year, maybe a year and a half is fine, because after that you tend to get a little stale and kind of run out of ideas for them to feud with. So I think this is a good time to take the title off of Cody, let Cena keep it for what 3 or 4 months, lose it at SummerSlam, or maybe lose it later in the year, and then either have Cody win it back or somebody else get it from Cena, and then that person feud with Cody, and then Cody get it back at Mania next year. I don't know what they have in plan. I'm excited to see
No,
what they have planned.
no. I say let Cena cook with his heel belt run till
Oh,
the
he needs
end.
a decent run,
Like let him run it till
and
the
then
end, and then at Survivor Series War Games, you get the CM Punk, John Cena. CM Punk goes
oh
into the
god,
new year with the title.
goosebumps. I just got goosebumps when you said
Like,
that.
dude, that is like a beautiful way to send it off. To send
It is,
John
and
Cena
and
off
there's
into
a,
the sunset.
right, and when CM Punk was in the WWE the first time, he had a beef with a lot of people, not because he was a bad person, but he I mean, he had a legit reason why he left.
He did.
But John Cena is one person he's always talked about having respect for. And Cena said the same thing. He's got that respect. And they teased us with that moment at the chamber when they stared, they shook, Cena went to shake his hand and Punk said no, gave him a hug, and they started fighting. And then Punk mentioned John Cena in his promo the night after, or that Monday after, as like, you fooled me or whatever like that. So I could definitely see them setting that up.
Oh yeah, then I'm ready for it. Um,
Oh,
they're setting
yes.
up a whole lot. We missed a whole lot in these past 2 weeks. We were out, with your technical
Yeah,
difficulties and my sickness. Um,
right.
so I mean,
And
they're
we didn't
kind.
watch it,
We
but we just
did.
didn't record
We just didn't record it.
it.
Um, and I had every intention on recording that first week, but
Mhm.
when that flu hit me, it was just like death, and I was just like,
Yeah, no,
there's
yeah,
no way I can do this. I was going to kind of do it by myself because I knew you couldn't, and it is what it
mhm,
is. But I was going to try and at least
yep.
have something out, but it didn't work.
Honestly, Raw didn't have a lot of, in my opinion anyway, it didn't have a lot of exciting matches. A lot of them were like 2 minutes or less, pretty quick matches, which was kind of surprising to me.
They were on a time crunch after that Cena promo, so I mean I get it. Um,
Yeah,
they still had the behind the scenes stuff that they did or whatever, and then they had the
yeah.
contract signing for the WrestleMania match
Oh,
with Rhea Ripley, and that was. We'll talk about
we
that
got to
here.
talk about
Yeah,
that.
we got to talk about that one.
Yes. Penta versus Ludwig Kaiser in a no holds barred match was
It was actually a really good
phenomenal.
match.
Yes, it really was. Like, that's a good pairing. I didn't think I'd like it at first, but those two together, man, they make incredible matches. I, I, I could see they're going to carry that into Mania. There's going to have to be some kind of feud that ends there.
It's got to. It'll probably be like a
The way
start.
it's going.
It'll probably be like a starter match during one of the nights, but
Yeah.
it'd be a good one.
Yep. It would be a great one. Great one. And then they also had like a 29-second squash match against Austin Theory, which I think they're getting ready to turn him babyface. I think Grayson Waller is going to turn on him at some point, and then they're going to have a Grayson Waller versus Austin Theory feud post WrestleMania.
Well, you really haven't seen much out of Grayson Waller and Austin Theory lately.
Mhm.
They've kind of just been in the background.
They have.
But
So they got to be building towards something, I would think.
or they just kind of use them as fillers because that's all they're good for. But that's just me.
Yeah, which is a shame, man, because Austin Theory is actually quite talented.
He is, but the way they just kind of paired him up with Grayson Waller and the way they did his
Yeah, that was
title
a weird pairing.
run, it kind of just
Yeah.
made him go down. But yeah, it's just Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. That was kind of getting stale on me, so I'm ready for it to be done with. Like
I
you
am
said,
too.
it was just
I
a
am too.
squash match just to make Jay look good going into this match against Gunther.
Yes, I agree. And now I will say this: typically, Raw is a more exciting show, but the past couple of weeks, SmackDown's been to me more watchable than Raw. Not that Raw's had bad matches. The only big thing really going on in Raw right now is the Cena Cody feud.
Right.
Over on SmackDown, you got the Jay Cargill Naomi thing going on with Bianca in the background. You got CM Punk, Roman Reigns, and Seth Rollins. I mean, you've got Tiffany Stratton and
Charlotte.
Charlotte Flair. That's starting to build some steam.
Yep.
So we'll probably focus more on SmackDown this week, honestly, than we do Raw, which typically is the other way.
Right. Yeah. Um, they're setting up for a couple of triple threat matches, and I'm for the
Yep.
way that they're doing this. Kind
Mhm.
of odd how they're doing one men and one women, but
Yeah.
I I think it'll work.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because that was one thing I know you've been waiting to talk about. And the same for me because that was, other than the Cena promo, that was kind of like the highlight of the show,
It really was,
that
and
contract signing.
that's kind of why I wanted to talk about it. You
Hmm.
had the normal Bianca Belair, Io Sky out there making the signing go on or whatever, and then next thing you know, as soon as they both finish signing, this is my brutality hits, and it's just like, yes,
Hmm.
yes,
And that place went
please.
nuts. That place went nuts.
So there's a couple of ways this can go, and I'm not sure on which way it's going to go. Theory one, we get the triple threat match. On the
Hmm.
other hand, maybe a special referee type situation.
That's a really good point. That's a great idea, actually.
But hear me out. Rhea still has a rematch clause.
Yes, she does.
What if she's special guest referee
Hmm.
and kind of uses her rematch clause as a money in the bank type situation? Let the match go on. She's a
Yeah.
special guest referee. And then as soon as the match is over, she calls for a referee to come out and rematch clause right then and there.
That's a really good twist to that. And, to add something to that would be even, I'm not going to say even cooler, but what they could add to it is, like you said, Bianca gets the win, right? She beats Io, she wins the title. But Rhea wants to enact her rematch clause right then and there. But before that, Jay Cargo comes down, confronts Bianca, attacks Bianca because Bianca was behind it. So she's weak even more. And so Rhea gets the easy 1, 2, 3.
Ooh. Ooh. That
Is
could
there's
be something
so many
big.
different ways they could
That
go
they
with that.
are.
Yes, it
But
really
that's
could.
the scenario I want to happen, but we'll probably get the triple
Oh
threat
gosh,
match.
yes. Probably, but that would be a cool scenario. I mean, it's treated like a money in the bank because you haven't really seen that before. Yes, you've seen people enact their rematch calls, but typically it's like the next week or the next pay per view, not the same exact night.
Nick
Which, man,
Khan, Bruce
they could.
Pritchard, take notes because this could be something.
Yes, definitely. But if y'all do it, we won't some royalties from
Yes,
that.
give us some royalties for that. Yeah.
But no, and they could use that to open the show because that would be some excitement. Just like at the Chamber, they opened up with a women's match, but Cargill came down and beat the hell out of Naomi. That
Right.
place went nuts, and it was on fire ever since.
Oh yeah, for
That whole
sure.
night it was just so loud. So yeah, they could definitely open maybe night one with that.
Oh yeah, that'd be a
A
good
good way to give us
starter.
a taste of what's coming.
Yeah, that'd be.
Yes, it would.
I mean, they have some big shoes to fill come Vegas because Philadelphia was
Yeah.
wild.
Yes, it was, and that was going to go down as one of my top five WrestleManias. 40 was. So 41, you got some catching up to do.
Oof. So I'm already looking ahead to next year.
Me too. But here's the
Because
thing about WrestleMania, though. Go ahead. No,
Because
go ahead.
with next year, it's in New Orleans.
Ooh, that's close to us. We could go.
And then
We could go.
they're talking 2028 Nashville.
That's cool. That's even closer. I wish it'd come back to Atlanta because of the Mercedes Benz Dome now.
So there might be 2 WrestleManias that I may be going to.
You've never been to one, have you?
No, I haven't.
It's an experience for sure. An experience for sure. But yeah, so here's the thing about WrestleMania is you're never going to have a WrestleMania that every single match is a 5-star match.
Right.
You're just not.
It's
But if your opener and your closer both nights are 4-star plus, you've got a successful WrestleMania.
yeah, for sure.
So what did you take from the Jey Uso squash match? I was going to ask you about that. What, like, are they doing that just to try to make him look big and strong, or are they trying to do it just to get him over more?
They're not doing the big and strong. They're not. He doesn't really need to go over more. I think they're just kind of doing it to be like, okay, yeah, he actually can probably hold his own against Gunther. Just kind of give it that factor.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I, I wasn't a fan of it because squash, in my opinion, squash matches have to make sense. And I'm not saying that one doesn't, but they need to make sense. Um, that being said, though, it did make Jey Uso look ready to take on Gunther because Gunther, like, he may not be the most agile person in the ring, but he's got some stamina, and that dude can go,
Yes,
and he's strong as crap.
he can also throw a mean flare or mean chop.
Oh, speaking of chops, did you see the video of CM Punk getting
That's
chopped?
why I brought it up.
Yes.
He goes,
And of course, Punk.
straight tapped out.
If y'all haven't watched it, I think it may be on Instagram. I'm sure it's probably on YouTube too. There was a house show this past weekend in Europe, and Gunther chopped the piss out of CM Punk's chest. And Punk's face was, his eyes were real big, and he started smiling. He literally tapped out on the mat when he got chopped. It was great.
It was amazing.
It was great. He's such a showman.
But
Such a showman.
But that's what I love about house shows. They kind of give you that indie feel to it, and it's not this professionalized storyline production. They go out there on the weekends and have fun and put on a show.
Right. And they don't have time restraints like they do on TV.
Right.
I mean, they still do, but they can kind of go over or under those as needed because of not being on TV. You know, if it's supposed to end at 10 and you end at 10:15, no harm, no foul, you know.
Right.
The arena's not complaining. You're still in there performing, making money. So,
But yeah, that was hilarious.
yes, it was. Yes, it was. So the main event, we're kind of skipping over a little bit because, like we said, SmackDown had more talking points. The main event was Finn Balor versus Braun Breaker. I'm about to say Braun Strowman. Braun Breaker for the IC title. Had a little bit of controversy in there.
Yeah. But this controversy has actually been going on for a little bit, in my opinion.
Yes, it has. And they've been teasing it, and we're about to see it. I don't think it's going to happen at WrestleMania. I think it's going to be something they're going to use after WrestleMania. But we have been talking about the Judgment Day breaking up. And they've hinted towards it several times. You know, there's been a lot of miscommunication here lately. I think Finn Balor will ultimately get the Edge treatment and get booted out like they did when Rhea and Damian were in when they first started it.
Yeah.
They're going to either boot him out or the Judgment Day is just going to go away altogether. They'll kind of go on their own, you know. Which honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing the Judgment Day break up. It's time. It's been a couple years. You know, they started that when Edge was still in WWE.
Well, see, here's the whole thing with that. The Judgment Day was supposed to be Edge's baby.
Yeah, it was.
But then injuries happened, and they had to make an audible, and they had to go from heel Edge, which would have been phenomenal.
Ah, yeah.
To because he was supposed to be like a Brood style, like Brood Edge.
Mm-hmm.
He was supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be that style with this, and then all that happened, and so Finn Balor came in and kind of took over. So Edge
Yeah,
did turn back babyface because I think it was Randy Orton that got hurt.
it was his first injury because he got injured after he came back the second time,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's when he messed his back up,
So I mean,
which was unfortunate.
it was, and now Edge is doing his thing, or Cope is doing his thing over in that other promotion. But
Yeah, which I'll always be a fan of his. It
I
breaks my
can't,
heart that he's not
I can't
in
hate
WWE
it
anymore. But
because
no, I can't either.
I finally got to watch my childhood idol wrestle a few months back when
Mm-hmm.
that other promotion came to Huntsville, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't on the card, but he was there. His music hit. He came out, did his thing, and then they did a taping of the Collision for that
Mm-hmm.
weekend, and he got to wrestle in that one. And to be able to see my idol wrestle just
It means something.
meant something. Complete bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
Check that item off. And so, yeah, I will always support him no matter where he's at. Um,
Same. And I'm glad you brought up about the idol getting to see him perform because after Stone Cold left, Edge was kind of moving up in the ranks, and so started becoming a huge Edge fan. Well, WrestleMania 27 comes along, and I'm able to go, and I'm glad I did because I had no idea at the time that was going to be his last match, and to be able to see that in person was just looking back on it now. I was like, man, that was history being made, and it was phenomenal. And then, of course, when he came back at the Rumble, I came unglued. I came off my couch and was yelling and screaming like a 5-year-old kid
I missed that
because
Rumble.
I didn't think he was ever going to come back.
I missed that
You did
Rumble.
miss it?
Yeah.
Oh my
But
gosh.
we didn't have, because that was the last one that WWE Network was doing, I think.
Hmm. Yeah, because they
And
moved over to Peacock not long after.
yeah. And so I let the subscription lapse and didn't realize it.
Oh man.
So I didn't get to see it till like hours later. And I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, it was, man. We've talked about this on the show before, but my wife, she's not a huge wrestling fan. She'll watch it with me. But the night that Edge came out and I was jumping around the house, she was like, "Why you act like a kid?" I'm like, "Because I am." Edge is back. He was never supposed to come back. Same thing with Punk. When Punk came back to WWE, oh my gosh, oh
We
my
saw
gosh, it
that
was
one coming
insane.
a mile away, though. It's not. It wasn't that surprise factor.
It was, but it wasn't because the way WWE did it, saying, "Oh, we know he's not going to be here, so don't get your hopes up." They did that obviously to swerve us, but it was still the reaction he got was still insane.
Right.
Overall, though, what would you rank Raw?
As a whole, 3 out of 5 stars. It's mid.
That's about what I was thinking too.
The thing that saved
Yeah,
it was the promos, the contract
yeah,
signing.
I agree.
Um, the
I
no holds
agree.
barred match was good. The main event was okay, predictable because you knew Dominic
Hmm.
and Carlito was going to come out and do some tomfoolery and cost him the match and yada yada yada. Same story, different day. But
Yeah,
all in all, the match itself was good, so I'll give it 3 out of 5.
that's about what I was thinking too. But I will touch on this before we get to SmackDown. What I hope they do, the WWE, is Jey Uso wins at Mania, which I think everybody's expecting him to. And then the Judgment Day breaks up, and then down the line, Finn Balor gets a shot at the World Heavyweight title and actually wins it. Because he had the only championship like that as far as world title he had was the Universal, and it was less than 24 hours because he got injured. He is super deserving of it, is long overdue for it. And this is WWE's opportunity to
Right
give him
wrongs.
what he missed out on from the injury. Yes, exactly. To right some wrongs. I'm not saying Jey Uso doesn't deserve it. The first title reign should be special and memorable, but it doesn't have to necessarily be long. Cody's has been long, which is great.
But I mean, that's not
But
his first
you
title
know,
reign. That's just his first big title reign.
yeah, true. And Jay, I mean, Jay had the IC title for what, 3 weeks,
Yeah.
2 weeks, and lost it. So I don't see them doing that to him. Two titles
Twice.
in a row where he
Right.
has a short reign. Yeah, he'll have a decent reign for sure. So let's get into SmackDown a little bit because, like we said, I think SmackDown was more entertaining, obviously, than Raw was this past week. But the highlight of the night was at the end, and we'll get into that in a second. But one match I want to talk about was um, LA. I'm sorry, not LA Knight. Was Braun Strowman versus Jacob Fatu for the number one contender for the U.S. title. Well, it was actually a really good match. Jacob Fatu is very good,
He's getting a good push.
very very good.
Very deserving
Yes,
push.
he is. Yes, absolutely. But Braun Strowman won it via disqualification. Afterwards, Solo Sikoa comes out and attacks Braun Strowman. So then, what we're going to get on SmackDown next week is LA Knight versus Braun Strowman for the U.S. title. I still think they're going to put Jacob Fatu in the mix somehow at WrestleMania. You know, we've already got 2 triple threats. I don't want to see a third one, honestly, because too many triple threats just kind of get repetitive. But
It is Triple H.
somehow,
See
this is true.
see what I did there?
Yeah, you did. I saw that. But I think they're somehow going to incorporate a Braun Strowman and Solo Sikoa match, and then maybe Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight at WrestleMania for the title. I wouldn't mind saying that. I like LA Knight, but Jacob Fatu, he's on fire right now, and they'd be stupid not to give him a title when he's got this kind of momentum going.
And what could happen is during the Braun Strowman LA Knight match, Fatu's music hits, LA pins, wins the match, or Solo's music hits, LA pins, wins the match or whatever, and then you get that's how they break it off and split it up to where Jacob goes in to fight LA Knight, Solo. So yeah, I can see it. I can see it.
It would be. They're going to put Jacob Fatu in WrestleMania in some way, shape, or form. It'd be crazy not to put him in the U.S. title match and to have him win it because, like we said, man, he's got so much momentum going right now.
Yeah.
They don't want to kill that momentum by him losing. Because I don't think he's been pinned yet, has he?
Not to my knowledge.
Not to mine either. The show started off though. Let's get into this. The show started off with Randy Orton coming out talking about Kevin Owens. I believe Kevin Owens comes out. That's part of the show. I was in the room, but I was doing other things. But it's actually official now. We are getting Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens at WrestleMania, which I think we all kind of expected that.
Yeah.
But it was a good promo by Randy. You know, nothing majorly stood out to me, but it was a good promo.
Talk about the one where he's talking about how he didn't get to do the boot like you wanted.
Yeah, he had mentioned the boot, and something else played into about that boot, and I don't remember what happened. Somebody came out and said we weren't protecting you from hurting somebody else. We were protecting you from you with a boot or something like that. And Norton's like, what are you talking about? I think, I'm not 100% sure because that was part of the show. I was back and forth, wasn't able to fully watch it.
Yeah.
But it was a good promo. You know, we expected Randy Orton and Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. Now it's official. We're getting that. Damian Priest and Jimmy Uso were in a tag team match against Drew McIntyre and Shinsuke Nakamura, which I found kind of weird because McIntyre attacked Nakamura last week, didn't he? On SmackDown.
No, I don't think he did. He just kind of like talked to him.
He kind of stood over him and whatever. Okay. So we know we're getting McIntyre and Priest at WrestleMania. That was set up at the Royal Rumble. Really, it was set up last year at WrestleMania, honestly.
Yeah.
You know? But of course, Jimmy Uso and Jimmy Priest go over. Now, after the match, Drew McIntyre delivers a massive, massive Claymore to Damian Priest, and the look on Damian Priest's face, like he sold it really well. He literally looked like he was like lights out, like he didn't know where he was. His eyes were big, and he was like just kind of looking around. He did a really good job selling that.
He's a good seller. I will say that. Damian Priest is really good at
He is.
selling moves.
He really really is, and I still think he's a little underrated. I mean, his title run wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, honestly.
I told you.
Um,
Nobody listens to
yeah,
Yorkie.
yeah, you were right, and not that I mean I like Damian Priest, and I was glad that he cashed in when he did. Uh, but he just said he didn't get a lot of. He got a push, but he wasn't getting a lot of
Traction with it.
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for lack of a better term, he wasn't getting a lot of attention with it. And then finally, when he becomes champion, you're like, oh wow, Priest is actually good. And it was nothing that he was doing wrong. It was just the way WWE was booking him, I
Right.
guess. Um, but yeah, Piper Niven defeated Zelina Vega in a singles match. There's a strong possibility that Piper Niven and Chelsea Green are going to split ways.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've seen that coming a mile away.
Is it going to happen at or before WrestleMania? I don't know. It may be a slow build, but I don't think at this point in time Chelsea Green has an opponent for WrestleMania.
Not that I know of.
And it could be Piper Niven. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. One of the highlights that I do want to talk about was Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair did a like a via satellite type interview,
Mm-hmm.
and Charlotte Flair was trying to talk down to Tiffany Stratton. She said she was a queen, and Tiffany Stratton was like 5 minutes into the business and all this kind of stuff. And Tiffany was like, "You're not going to talk to me like that, and I'm going to prove you wrong at WrestleMania when I pin you for the to retain my title." She didn't say the word for word, but that's basically what she was saying. And I really hope, fingers crossed, that they let Tiffany retain
Oh, for the sake
at
of
WrestleMania.
for the sake of the company, please let Tiffany Stratton retain that title. Please, I am
Yep,
begging you, and so is every other fan out there,
yep.
because Charlotte
Unfortunately,
Flair
I don't
is
see it happening.
overrated.
Yes, but to be honest with you, man, I don't see it happening. I really don't. I hate it. I do, but it's Charlotte Flair, and they're gonna do what Charlotte Flair wants.
Just because of her name, she's
I
not.
know.
She's not even that
I know.
good. She's not even good.
No,
She
no, I
stole
agree.
all of her dad's moves and made him her. She's not even good. She's not even original.
Hmm.
I will rant about that. I need to stop.
Yeah,
That'd be a whole show right there, guys.
yeah, it would. It would. Um, One exciting part of SmackDown was Liv Morgan versus Jade Cargill. Um, Shocking part was Liv Morgan got the win. Jade's first, I think, is Jade's first defeat, but the way she got the win was expected. Raquel Rodriguez distracted the referee. Naomi comes out of the ring, takes a tag team title, and hits Jade Cargill on the face with it, and she falls over. And Liv hits Oblivion on her and gets her for the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Pretty expected. Liv Morgan is doing a great job. We've said this time and time again. She's doing a great job as a heel, and she's playing that heel character to a T.
My wife hates her.
Well, I'm sure, but no, she is playing that heel character to a T. Like the old school heel. Like I'm going to cheat and do whatever I can to win, like the Ric Flair style heel, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
What I love about it. But yeah, it was a good match. Jake Cargill dominated the majority of the match. Kind of expected there, but it was a good match. It was a decent match.
That's a good way to make Jade still look strong and lose.
The Street Profits, if I'm not mistaken, they kind of turned heel a few weeks ago, right?
Ish. Ish.
And so, crazy thing is, Friday on SmackDown, they acted like baby faces.
That's why I said ish. Like they're not fully
Yeah,
committed to it.
right. So they're in the ring cutting a promo, and Legado del Fantasma comes out, and they deserve a shot at the titles. And Street Profits were like, yeah, but Pretty Deadly's the number one contender for it. So Pretty Deadly comes out, and they have like a little three-way promo, and Legado del Fantasma challenged the Street Profits. Street Profits beat them, of course. And so next week on SmackDown, we're getting the Street Profits versus Pretty Deadly titles. Pretty Deadly's pretty much baby faces now.
I'm about to say they're baby faces at this point.
Yeah, they are. They are. That was
Can't.
expected.
I can't. I don't see how they're tagged. I don't see how that's working. I really don't. It's so
I can't get
stupid.
behind them.
It is a stupid gimmick. It's so stupid.
And it's sad because the WWE had, for the longest time, had gotten away from gimmick wrestlers.
They did.
And for the most part, they still have.
Like the last time they did something like this was, who was it? It was like pretty much Pretty Deadly, but two different people. I think it was like,
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of their names. You know who I'm talking about, though, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
I think it's Fandango.
Was it recently?
Fandango and somebody else.
Oh yeah, Tyler Breeze.
Tyler Breeze, yeah. That it's the same
Breezango,
thing.
I think they called him.
It's the same thing.
It honestly is. It honestly is. So the big thing about SmackDown was the end. So they had the Street Profits match.
Mm-hmm.
That was the main event, and then it kind of rolled into the whole Roman Reigns thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they go to commercial break. Roman Reigns comes down to the ring. Actually, no, I take that back. Roman Reigns comes down to the ring. They take it like a 90-second commercial, come back, and Roman was like doing his whole acknowledgement thing, but he didn't say acknowledge me. I think he said, I love you, or something like that. To that effect. It was a little bit different than what he normally does. First, Paul Heyman was in the ring. So Roman Reigns kind of gave his little spiel about how CM Punk deserved what he got because he eliminated from the Elimination Chamber. He took a cheap shot, is what he said, or along those lines. He said Seth Rollins deserved what he got because he attacked him after the Rumble, and that's why he did what he did. And he was getting ready to leave the ring. Well, here comes Seth Rollins. His music hits. Comes down to the ring wearing Becky Lynch's clothes again.
I was about to say, what was he wearing this time?
It looked like a blouse. It honestly looked like a blouse. Go back and watch it. It's kind of funny. But he gets in the ring, and before he could talk, you hear Cult of Personality. And that place erupted. Like they were singing along to CM Punk's song. CM Punk was singing along to it. At one point, they zoom in on Punk, and you can actually hear Punk singing Cult of Personality. It was kind of cool. So he gets in the ring and does a classic CM Punk turnbuckle sit. And sits on the turnbuckle. And started talking. He told Roman, he goes, Roman, in case you forgot, it's been a few years since you've been in a Rumble, but the Royal Rumble is every man for himself. I did what I was supposed to do. It wasn't a cheap shot. He said, as far as Seth goes, he said something. I don't exactly remember what it was. And then he looked at Paul Heyman. He goes, and let's not forget, Paul, you still owe me a favor. And Paul Heyman was like, let's not go there right now. Let's not do this right now. Like you could hear Paul Heyman saying that. And Punk was pretty much, he was like, what is it, Paul? He said something to Paul Heyman. Then he goes, I do want to say thank you, Paul Heyman, for delivering your tribal chief to me on a silver platter. And Roman Reigns stops and he turns real slowly and looks at Paul Heyman. And then CM Punk attacks him. And so Seth Rollins stands there and watches for a second, and then he comes in and he starts attacking Punk. And then he throws Punk off of Roman, and he hits Roman. And so it's just a back and forth feud for like 10 minutes, man, a brawl back and forth. At one point, CM Punk stops and points to the WrestleMania sign and then starts fighting. And then Seth Rollins stops fighting, points to the WrestleMania sign, goes back in a fight, and then Roman Reigns does it. So they've obviously all three teased that there's going to be a triple threat at WrestleMania.
Or something like it.
Something along those lines. But let's get into that. Do you think it's going to be just a plain old triple threat, or do you think there's going to be some sort of stipulation added to the end? Whoever wins that match gets blah.
What would they get though? They're not signing. They're not setting up anything for them to get with this match.
I mean, the only thing that would make sense would be a title shot, but they're not going to do that early.
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't think they're not going to waste the John Cena. If Cena wins, I mean, obviously he's gonna hold the title for a little while. Maybe we get a Roman versus John Cena rematch,
Maybe, or maybe we get
and Cena can get his win.
I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that question. I don't.
And I don't either. And honestly, I don't really think it needs a stipulation.
It doesn't.
I mean,
unless it could be for a number one contender spot.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, like a title shot, but yeah, like a number one contender that they're choosing. Like they don't have to be the immediate number one contender,
Right.
you know. But I did read something that's kind of interesting, and it said that there are three possible scenarios for Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one was Paul Heyman is going to replace. I mean, Roman Reigns is going to replace Paul Heyman with Rikishi. He's going to be at his side of WrestleMania.
Ooh.
Would make sense because that's his uncle. There's a lot of history there, and The Rock's going to be there. So, is The Rock going to try something? I don't know. He's more involved with the John Cena thing, but
I did it for The Rock. I did it for my
right?
people.
The second scenario was no, you're good. The second scenario is that Paul Heyman turns on Roman Reigns and joins CM Punk, which is one thing we had talked about anyway. Would make sense. The third one was Paul Heyman screws CM Punk and stays with Roman Reigns, and he goes on to win. But that one would be exciting to me. I mean, okay, it's Paul Heyman. What do you expect? So I'm wondering, and we're going to find out eventually, just like we eventually found out who ran over Jay Cargill or attacked Jay Cargill. But I really want to know what this favor is.
Me too.
Like, does the WWE actually know what the favor is? Or are they just kind of thinking about that and then they're going to reveal it when they come up with something solid?
I don't know. I guess we'll have to play it by ear and we'll find out at WrestleMania, won't we?
Yes, we will. Because it's going to come out eventually, whether it be at WrestleMania or after. We're going to find out what that favor is eventually. And I mean, part of me is saying that during WrestleMania, you're going to see Paul Heyman screw Roman Reigns and join CM Punk, and then we're going to see a heel CM Punk.
You can't have a heel CM Punk and a heel Cena, though. Can't.
Yeah, you can if they don't plan on putting them against each other. But
they're going to end up.
They're going to have to.
They have to. Like I said at the earlier on in the show, what's going to happen is John Cena's going to win at Mania, carry it into Survivor Series, War Games. It's going to be babyface CM Punk versus heel John Cena because the last time they faced each other, the roles were reversed.
It was flip-flop. Yep.
And the pipe bomb happened.
Oh, the best promo in history.
So that's got to be how they end it. And then CM Punk goes into next year with the title. And he gets his main event at WrestleMania.
Do you think that this triple threat will be a main event this year?
Triple threat won't be a main event. The two main events are going to be the title matches.
Which title matches, though?
Well, obviously, it's going to be...
See, Cena and Cody is going to close the Sunday night out. We already know that.
That's going
to close the show.
Who does night one, though? Is it going to be Gunther, or is it going to be a women's title match?
And this is no disrespect towards Gunther or Jay. It's going to be a good match, but I don't know if that's a main event quality match.
It's going to.
I really don't.
It's going to be on Saturday.
Yes, that's going to be a Saturday match for sure. The only other match I could see possibly main eventing would either be the Rhea triple threat match or the Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte. But even then, it's not getting as much steam as everything else is.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's what I love. That's what I love about wrestling. It's unpredictable. Just when you
Very unpredictable.
just when you think you have it lined up the way that you want it,
Yep.
they're just going to take that little piece right there that you just absolutely had full faith in and just throw it out.
Yep. Just when you think you got it all figured out, they swerve you.
They're like, nah,
Just when you think you got it all
you
figured out.
thought.
Yep. That's not happening. And why do they do that? Because people will tune into the next show, and that's more viewers and that's higher ratings.
Better storyline.
I get it. Yes, absolutely. Storyline is crucial. We've said that.
But I will say
Absolutely.
this, like I will be 120% shocked, and it may happen just so we can get that shock factor that Cena does not win that match.
I will too. I think
Let me rephrase that. I will be shocked in a bad way.
yeah.
Because it's time to let Ric Flair's title reign record go.
It is. I mean, they did it to the Undertaker at WrestleMania. They broke the streak.
Yeah, with
Records and
Brock
streaks are meant to be
Lesnar,
broken.
of all people. Like, come on now.
I know. They like honestly, man. They should have had somebody like an up and comer break his record to put them over. They really should have.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, Roman Reigns beats him at WrestleMania, which didn't mean as much then because he'd already gotten beat.
Right.
You know.
I
don't
would
know.
have loved for that match to be the one to break the record.
With Roman Reigns,
Yes.
it would have meant more than Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar didn't need it.
Right.
Roman at the time did.
Bad. Very bad.
Yeah, Roman now, no. Roman then, he definitely needed it. He was getting booed out of the arena.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when they could have turned him heel when he beat The Undertaker. And be like, you know what? I did this. What are you going to do about it?
Right.
But that was part of the start of him turning heel.
Yeah.
You know, just a slow build. But yeah, I don't know, man. WrestleMania is looking. There's some matches on there that I'm really looking forward to, and then there's some matches I'm like, nah.
I could give or
predictable.
take. Yeah.
Right. Like, love Tiffany Stratton. I love Tiffany Stratton. But I'm not looking forward to that match because
The disappointment.
my gut tells me Charlotte Flair is going to win.
Yeah. That disappointment.
And I don't want that. Yeah, I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want Gunther to win.
He won't.
Because
I think Jay wins.
he's held it long. Yeah, I do too. I mean, he's held it long enough, and honestly, he hasn't had that great of a title reign.
Right.
And that's not all on him. Some of that is on booking. A lot of it is on booking. But where do you go? Like, once Jay wins, who's Jay feud with? Who's his first feud? And see, those are questions you have to ask with any title reign. If somebody new comes in, if John Cena beats Cody Rhodes, who will John Cena's first feud be against?
You know who I would like to see Jay's first feud be with?
Who's that?
His brother.
I was thinking that, but we got that last year.
Not that brother.
Oh, Solo?
Baby brother.
That could be interesting. That could be an interesting feud. One thing, and I meant to mention this earlier. One thing I do want to talk about real quick before we get out of here is the past few weeks on SmackDown, they have been running a couple of vignettes, 2 separate ones. If you noticed, we all know who one of them is. It's Rey Fenix. You can tell by the mask outline and all that kind of stuff. But the other one they're running with the number in there, I think it's the number 9, maybe. I know who I think it is, but I wanted to hear who you think it is.
Not a luchador.
No, it's not a luchador.
And it's not Chad Gable.
Nope. Because you can tell that's him when he comes out wearing the luchador mask.
It's the one and only Kurt Angle's son.
Mr. Kennedy?
No.
Oh no, that was Vince's son. That was
Yeah.
Vince's son.
Jordan.
You think it's him? I don't.
Here's why.
I don't.
Here's why. Who was he a tag partner with?
I don't remember that far back.
Chad Gable.
Oh, they were. That's right, they were. Uh, I don't know. I personally think it's Aleister Black.
Mm, we'll see.
They're going to give him a proper run this time because one of the main reasons he left was because the way Vince used him or didn't use him.
Yeah.
You know, and Triple H was always big on him. I think. Yeah, we're fixing to have Ray Phoenix come back. Maybe he comes back at WrestleMania and helps Penta get a win, and they could throw them into the tag team titles.
It's going to be Penta versus Ray.
Which honestly, Nathan,
There's going to end up being Penta
Mania?
versus Ray. Here's why. Who do you think the lucha was that Chad Gable went and saw?
You think it was Ray Phoenix?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's a damn good storyline, man. We should go work for the WWE. God, that's actually a really good storyline. I like that. I like that.
That's just
I didn't even think about that.
That's just my.
Well, no, it makes sense though. Like I didn't even think about that, but that makes total sense.
Mm-hmm.
Total sense. Man, I don't know. I know one thing. I cannot wait till freaking WrestleMania.
Me neither.
We talked about this on our post chamber show. Unfortunately, it didn't get put up because my computer crashing. I'm still going to get it up eventually. Yes, it's going to be 3 to 4 weeks old at this point, but I still want to get it up because we owe y'all that. But one thing we talked about is we may or may not. It depends on timing and availability. But we may do a live reaction show after one or both WrestleManias, but that might be on TikTok because during the Elimination Chamber, one of our followers on TikTok was going live, and I was on his stream the whole time commenting, and he was, said, "Oh yeah, I like that. That's a good idea. That's a good idea." And he might join us for a live show or a recorded show during or after WrestleMania. And Yorkie and I personally know him, but we know who he is. He was one of our first followers on TikTok. And I think Yorkie may have gamed with him a couple times. Maybe.
Yeah, I know him from before, starting this up. He's a streamer friend of mine and everything. So yeah.
Well, man, I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad we're back in the swing of things. I hate that we missed what we did. We still watched, but we just didn't really talk about it. So
We couldn't. We didn't
your
have a
final
way
thoughts?
to.
Yeah, we didn't. We didn't have a way, and finally we got that way back, and this video is gonna be posted, and then we'll do our weekly show coming up early next week, probably Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
Probably Tuesday. But with that being said, Yorkie, any final thoughts you want to put out?
Just hope y'all didn't miss us too much. Hopefully y'all were anxious to see what we have to come and are constantly checking to see if we got something new that's, come out. We're not sleeping on you, we promise. But now I think we're in for a big roller coaster of emotion, big roller coaster ride of a WrestleMania season. We got 4 weeks left till WrestleMania. And I'm buckled in and I'm ready to go.
I am too, Yorkie. I'm so excited. And as I mentioned earlier, I have been binge watching every WrestleMania. Right now I'm on WrestleMania 6. I should be able to get it finished before WrestleMania 41. But be on the lookout because what I want to do is do a video kind of not critiquing, but rating each WrestleMania as far as good, bad, or meh, right? So y'all keep a lookout for that. I may start filming those soon. And if Yorkie wants to join me on those, he's more than welcome to. It's just I try to do something every year to get ready for WrestleMania. I think last year I watched a lot of the Attitude Era stuff. So this year I was like, you know what? Let's do every WrestleMania. That's I mean, we wouldn't be where we are now if it weren't for these early WrestleManias.
Right. And with that being said,
Right.
I'm Yorkie.
And I'm TJ.
And this is Unleashed Wrestling. Yeet!